Welcome to the Fan Awakens podcast. Actually, not the podcast. This is just a review of The Mandalorian Episode 1. Episode 1 is upon us. It dropped a bit early. We thought it was coming at 3 a.m. today, but it came out yesterday at about, 9? 8?
I think so.
It's about 8 or 9. Yeah, I got the text. Miguel texted me saying Skynet is live. I didn't even have to ask. I already knew. So, The Mandalorian, we've been waiting for this for months and months and months, and finally it's out. Episode 1. I do have a lot of thoughts, so I thought we'd just come on here and share those thoughts a bit, discuss the episode a little bit, and just give the overall reaction to the show. So I've seen it 3 times to this point. I wanted to make sure that I had, I could really fully flesh out my thoughts, which I do feel confident to do now. And I do feel that we'll have a nice back and forth a little bit real quick because, you may have more questions. I have a lot of questions, certainly. But hopefully we can sort of discuss those together. First off, this is going to be spoiler heavy. So if you haven't seen the episode, I'd say tune out right now. And I will give you 5 seconds. That's it. But so just to dive right in, this show opens up to a scene that we pretty much have seen in all the marketing, and we saw a lot of it at Star Wars Celebration back in April in Chicago, and it's a scene that I think it's great to open up to. Shows the Mandalorian pretty much arriving like a badass. It feels Western. It feels very, Sergio Leone, man that does, he doesn't say anything. Very, very, he's not a man of words, at first at least. And so he enters the cantina, and I am on board. But one thing I will say is that I was so nervous until the second act of this episode, I will say, because the blue alien, he was I don't know his name, but he was played by Horatio Sands, he's a SNL alumni. I don't like him. I don't like him at all. He felt very Earth-like. It felt very on the nose, the more I watch it, the more I feel like he is like the representation of the audience. Like they're in awe of the Mandalorian, asking a bunch of questions, sort of excited at first, and I kind of like the sequence that happens. I love the fight. We finally get to see the alien get chopped up by the door. We get to see the Mandalorian in some action. He uses a lot of his tools. He uses wrist cable, and we also get to see Beskar. Beskar iron in action, which, if you don't know Beskar iron, it's essentially metal used by the Mandalorians for armor, and they've used them. To be honest, I'm not sure if it's canon anymore, but I believe they started using it during the Jedi Mandalore Wars when they needed something that could fend off the lightsabers, and so even a lightsaber can't simply cut through that iron, through that metal. So it is very sought after, as one would assume, But yeah, so for me, it wasn't until the Mandalorian was there collecting his bounty that I really got hooked, because I was nervous. I loved the I forgot the name of it, but that giant star walrus that came out the ice. I loved that, and I thought that great action. It is just showing him being a badass again. But I really didn't like that blue alien, and I was so nervous that he was going to be like a main through line. And when he got put into the carbonite, I was so happy. And I'm not just trying to hate on that. I just didn't like it, and it made me nervous. What were your thoughts?
Yeah. Initially how it opened, you immediately felt that, classic side, like, okay, something's happening in the cantina, a bit of rough housing, and then
it did
doors
feel
swing
classic
open.
Star Wars.
The doors open. You see the Mandalorian.
There's not enough room in this town for the both of us.
Exactly.
Basically is what it was.
You got that vibe, and then you knew where this was headed. Just loved the tone they just initially set there. But yeah, initially, with that, I forget. I don't know if you know the name, or what was the name of the blue character?
No, I don't know.
Yeah,
he was a bounty. He had the puck.
So I was kind of worried about that a little. I was like, okay, it's like, it seems a little bit too initially they were
didn't
using
have any kind of accent. It sounded like he was doing a skit on SNL.
Yeah, because the guy that was bullying him initially had a different language.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, they're
and I like that. I wish they would have used the yellow subtitles instead of the white, but that's all right with me. But the thing is, it's like, hey, what are you doing here? You want my credits? Here, have my credits. You can do that. But past that, but that's the thing. That I was nervous. I liked everything. I liked how we saw the Razor Crest. They really instilled a lot of sort of beliefs of this character through this episode. His hate of droids. Why does he hate droids? I think this is just a assumption. If you look at the Mandalorian trailer, well, first off, in this episode, we get to see a flashback of him,
Yeah.
and he said he was a foundling. Which is he Mandalorian, or was he just
That's-
found and brought into the tribe?
That's
don't
the
know.
question.
And it looks like he was just found because that didn't look like it was Mandalore, which is fine, which is definitely an interesting take for the character. But I do think that his hate of droids must come from when he was young, because if you look at the trailer, it looks like we get more of those flashbacks out of sequence when those super battle droids are coming. So he must hate that because the droids probably killed his parents. Droids probably killed his family and everybody he knows for the most part.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a connection that I think we will dive into more as we get down the line, even in this video talking about IG-11, which was fantastic, probably my favorite part of the episode. But after that, we do get through space, and we go to a new planet, and we get to meet Grief Karga officially. Carl Weathers, that's the character that I've been most excited to meet because of my very now healthy obsession with the Rocky franchise. I would say at a point it wasn't, but
yeah, I could
was
vouch
great.
for that.
Carl Weathers fits this perfectly, and he's set to direct in season 2, an episode. I just think it's cool, man. He's just, he's the bookie. He's like he kind of, I don't know if he runs the guild necessarily. It seems he does. I don't know if there's anybody above him, but I assume there's not in this small of a place.
Yeah.
So then, I like that though.
Yeah, it was initially in that, just that little scene of like, exchanging credits. You initially put the Empire credits, and he's like, and then it sort of shows.
Gone.
Yeah, he's like, and then that sort of sets like, okay, like, these don't work. These what'll I get
Yeah, it
for
kind of
these?
sets us in the world for sure.
Yeah.
And this kind of like they're not quite in wild space, but they're in the outreaches of the galaxy where the Republic isn't necessarily there doing their work. You got to work from the inside out. And so this is just, it's Wild West essentially in space. And so I love that too. And I love that he's like, there's a lot. He's like, that slow, huh? He's like, no, actually, we're doing very well.
Yeah.
And clearly, then we meet Werner Herzog, who's known as the client, apparently. And that was great.
And yeah, that's what we saw.
Once again, though, we did see that celebration, but they added, again, small detail. I didn't like the Doctor. I didn't like him at all.
Oh yeah,
very Earth-like. Took me out.
I was thinking about that. I was like, did we initially get introduced to this character?
We didn't, and it looked like an insert shot to me. It didn't even look like it was like shot at the same time, which you can do and make it look seamless. For this, it didn't really fit for me. I think it was just the way the actor delivered it. Maybe it's his direction, but either way, I didn't like that. And maybe that's just a credit to Mr. Herzog, who's just fantastic and kind of world class, So when the Mandalorian, they had their dialogue, it was great. I loved seeing the stormtroopers because this isn't newly manufactured armor. They've kind of had to scrabble this together because the Empire's gone. And so if you want to recruit, I mean, what do you give them? You're going to have to scrap these armor sets together, and I'm sure they're worn and used in battle. People probably died in that armor, Yeah. And so that was interesting, but he did set him on his quest. And a couple notable things, we didn't meet Gina Carano in this episode, which I was surprised, but I understand. Episode was 40 minutes, a bit shorter than I expected, but still satisfying. But then we go to a new planet, and we meet, oh my gosh, Quill, I think. Quill? Nick Nolte played him, little fella. I love that the Mandalorian started riding the Blurgs. The Blurgs attacked. And I love that sequence too. That felt it felt really cool, like classic Star Wars to me. The Blurg bit his hand, and he started shooting his flamethrower.
Yeah, I was just trying to think. Was that after or before he got that new?
Sorry. Yeah, I shouldn't have skipped over that.
Because I was thinking, I wasn't sure if that came after or before.
It was after
Slightly
that.
Before,
so Herzog gave the Mandalorian the Beskar steel as a down payment, and so he puts it on his shoulder. He goes.
Hold on, before the press, with like me not knowing too much about like credits and what's valuable in the Star Wars universe. They set it up beautifully in there. It's like, okay, the first through the Empire credits. It's like that's that was good, and then I forget what was the other little thing.
I don't remember what kind they were either.
Yeah, but then at that meeting with was it Herzog?
Yeah.
Then they put that down, and I was like.
But I think the thing is, I don't think it's worth as much to anyone else.
Exactly.
It's only worth to him because who
Then you
knows?
go to
Other
that
people
scene.
probably can't even smelt it, or
Yeah.
But then that's when I was shocked, because when they went to the tribe of that planet of Mandalorians, it's like they're living in a dump. They're living like in a tunnel, and I was surprised to see there were more than one Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to be it. And so seeing that there's a whole tribe was interesting. I wonder if we're ever going to see Mandalore. Is Mandalore still a thing? I don't know. What's the state of Mandalore as a whole? Are these people, they talk about new foundlings. Are they trying to build a new Mandalore? I think that this is going to be this show, that's going to be a big plot line. Mandalorians
Yeah.
sort of emerging in the galaxy again.
Because she said like, you brought this back to the people.
Yeah.
The steel.
Beskar steel,
Yeah.
Beskar iron. And so that was a really cool sequence. I loved it, and seeing them sort of smelt it down felt right. And so the interesting thing is now he's got his shoulder piece. I assume he's gonna get the rest of it from the next episode or two, because we've seen images.
That's
of him
gonna be
with the
pretty
full
cool,
armor.
it's slowly like he.
For me, it felt really like a video game.
Exactly.
I was like, this is a game I want to play.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's a really good way to put it. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I felt like, you go to the old blacksmith or whatever it is, and they upgrade you, and then you go on your way. But
then they go to that.
yeah, we go to the new planet in the Razor Crest. Which the design of the Razor Crest is great. We got to see at Celebration. They used a bunch of models. This isn't CG, the actual ship flying. It's fantastic. But and so the Mandalorian lands. He's using it. I love how he uses the binoculars. I love the use of those always.
Oh, yeah.
But he gets attacked by a blurg and a second blurg. And that was cool, man. He's just punching in the side of the head. His hand is almost mauled. And it's cool. And I thought that Nick Nolte was great in that role. I have spoken.
Exactly.
I loved that. I loved that so much. So, they go on this little trek. And still, I don't think you really, really get hooked into the show until the third act of it.
Yeah.
Which is nearing. But they talk about, he's like, I don't know how to ride blurg. I like their exchanges. All their dialogue was great. I'd say all the dialogue in the show is really good besides that first intro with the blue alien. And mindful, it's Dave Filoni's first live action anything he's directed. And so I was watching Rebels this morning and just, admiring some more Dave Filoni stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good. I'm so excited for him. But and he directs another episode in this season.
Oh yeah.
He has two. And so we he writes he's having trouble riding the blurg, and he's like, "You're a Mandalorian. I thought you guys used to ride the Mytho Beast," which is cool. If you don't know, the Mytho Beast is a giant the Mandalorian, that skull, their logo? That's a Mytho Beast skull.
Mm.
So their logo is Mytho Beast skull, and, he kind of talks some sense into him. It's like, it's, again, very Western. You gotta ride the buck, and you gotta break the buck to ride through the canyon.
Yeah, that's sort of something that the show is so far doing, rather built in terms of world building in the world of Star Wars. Like, there's different audiences here. There's some that are like, who are hardcore. They know, they know
the
what's
Mytho Beast.
they know like all the lore stuff, and like, okay, they introduced that and that. But then like even like when they're having the conversations about building up like the Mandalores and like who they are, Mandalorian people, and like
And that's what I think. That's where Dave Filoni comes in. I think the Dave Filoni effect. His fingertips are all over this episode, because you don't get all these references, all these subtle nods, and all these different things without a Dave Filoni. He is just I think there's two things he loves in Star Wars more than anything. One, Ahsoka Tano. Two, Mandalorians. He loves Mandalore.
Yeah.
And Jon Favreau was a Mandalorian because of him. He was pre-Vizsla. And I think that you're just going to get people are going to be so well versed in Mandalorians after this show, and it's going to become common talk. You can go to a lot of people, and I would say a lot of people, you can go to the line in Star Wars episode 7. Let's go back to episode 7. If we were waiting in line and you're asking people what are Mandalorians, a lot of people won't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they just think Boba Fett's a Mandalorian. He's not. And it's going to be interesting to see if I still bet that he's coming back in this show. I think that he's definitely coming back in this show at some point. But either way, I love the idea of, him having to tame this blurg and riding it, through. It's like, we can't make that trip unless we got a horse. And then, you got to take a
and
horse.
then he was like, you got a speeder, you got a bike or anything? And then, because it's kind of, again, it's still like raises the eyebrow still, which they're doing brilliantly. Like, is this guy really a Mandalore? Like,
Yeah,
I mean, he did that beast. He tamed that blurg. Like, after he just
exactly.
So I'm like,
But
okay.
the thing
like,
is, like, I think that he is a Mandalorian as far as anything's concerned.
yeah.
Maybe he's just not born a Mandalorian, which also lends to the whole Rise of Skywalker with Rey, perhaps. I don't want to get into that here, but
you're getting sweaty there.
I'm just saying. But
Yeah.
we finally get into the juice of the episode. The meat, what hooks you and makes you excited for Friday when the next episode comes, and that is easily when they have the talk about he doesn't like all these bounty hunters and hired guns coming in. But he's going to help him because he's a Mandalorian and he's heard the legends and he believes he'll take care of the problem. So he's waiting there, and then, oh my gosh, when IG-11 comes in, Taika Waititi, perfect. He was not, like, I heard a lot of people talking, Taika Waititi's just going to be cracking jokes the whole time, or he's going to, oh, hey man, what do you want to, like, he's just going to be Korg, and he wasn't. He voiced the role perfectly, in my opinion, but I love that it reinforces the Mandalorian. He's like, oh, bounty droid, and it's like reluctant teamings, and I love that kind of stuff. And that's when we get the action, and I thought the action was so well shot, because I will admit that a lot of this episode feels like an expensive fan film. I think a lot of people have said that, and that for me stopped once the action scene started. It was just it was really cool, man. It was pretty seamless to the movies. It looked really good.
Yeah.
It was choreographed extremely well, and the thing that I loved the most was the banter between them as they fought with the self-destruction sequence.
Yeah, those were great. Like, I was like, already, like
he's like, he's like, programming states I cannot be captured. Oh no! And I love that he kept going in and out of it.
Yeah.
Like, no, don't do that. And I loved, once they got into the fight, you really started seeing the Mandalorian's personality. Pedro Pascal really started, like, kind of firing the lines really quickly, and it wasn't like this, like, yes, good, which I like. I like that stuff, and it fits the character as well. But it was cool seeing him sort of struggle. He wasn't perfect, because in the description for the show, it was like this fearless gunfighter, and like, which is cool. But you get to see him, like, IG-11 shoots him, and he goes flying, which was awesome. But they handle the fight. It's really good. He just tells IG-11 to go take a whooping, basically.
Yeah, because that was initially like something that I was sort of thinking about when it comes to the Mandalorian, because like they sort of perceived him to be really like sharpshooter. He's great, and he is. But like when they were when he was scouting that area, I was like, okay, is he gonna go in and like take care of all this? Because there's that anticipation and prediction, which is kind of scary. You don't really want that. You don't want things to be predictable. Yeah. And so when when that whole thing came down, I was like, pleasantly.
Man, this episode is everything but predictable.
Yeah.
Overall, this is not. I thought too.
Yeah.
And honestly, while I was watching, I forgot about that whole talk about there's some big spoiler in it, and I don't think it was necessarily some big spoiler to me, but it was interesting what happened, because they go through the fight, which is so good, and what a moment when he gets the turret.
That was
when he gets the blaster cannon. That is a series defining moment for me. It's like it hooks you. That hooks you.
Yeah, well, like without making him like super invincible, but at the same time still making the Mandalorian a threat to be reckoned with. Like you clearly saw that. Yeah, like they were getting pinned down so bad.
Like the thing was, he it's like he didn't just stand out there and just go head to head with a cannon. It's like it's just like jump back in when they started shooting the blast.
Yeah, because I was sort of thinking about, like, I think wasn't there, like, at least in the beginning, the bar scene where someone shot at him, or someone shot.
Well, see, that's Beskar Steel though. Yeah, they shot him in the shoulder and it ricocheted off.
Oh, but not anywhere. He doesn't have it anywhere else.
No, he does. I just think that it's worn mostly. I don't think his gauntlets are Beskar.
Oh.
I think that his shoulders were both, but very worn. And I think his chest plate is.
Because I think didn't he get shot earlier? But then the
ricocheted.
Whatever the thing.
It's Beskar Steel. That's why. So that was the interesting thing. I love that though. So the arm is resistant, but he's not covered head to toe.
Yeah.
But even then, it's not going to protect you from a blaster cannon like that.
Yeah, not that cannon.
Which is a good thing. And it showed he's resourceful, he's quick on his feet, and he's just fun to watch. So they take him out, and assisted by a wonderful Ludwig score. We can't go over that. The score is great.
Yeah.
I loved it, especially when he first goes into the cantina. It sets the tone. It feels very Western while still feeling Star Wars to me. But it's also not relying on John Williams' work, which is nice. You know, we get new stuff. And so they do that. They agree to split the bounty. They get inside. They're using the tracker. And that is when I was shocked. You know,
that's
they
where
finally found the bounty.
That's where I wanted to come here and be like, what's going on here?
So this is where I'm going to talk about a little bit. So we find the bounty, and they open the box or whatever the housing, and out comes some green ears.
Yeah, I was like,
Yoda, not Yoda, but the same species as Yoda. We see come out, and so this is raising a lot of eyebrows.
I was shook. I was like, what?
Same.
What is this?
Which is really cool because not only is this it's like original trilogy fans are loving this show for sure, and it's definitely tailor-made to them, but it's also tailor-made to the prequel fans. Clearly, I think it's perfect for all Star Wars audiences because you have these connections to both.
Yeah.
You know, it feels original trilogy while also having super battle droids, the same creature that Yoda is. And this is what's interesting. They're offering a lot to get this, and they want it alive. But they're willing to, dead also. But they really do want it alive. And the interesting thing is, the person who wants it alive is a scientist. And he is clearly very interested in this. So, in Star Wars, we've only seen 2 of these species before. We've seen 2. One is Yoda. He's arguably the most powerful Jedi of all time behind Luke Skywalker. And the other is Yaddle.
Yaddle?
Yaddle
is
a female in the same race as Yoda, and we only see her briefly in Star Wars Episode 1, but she's on the Jedi Council. She's strong. And so we've seen 2 of these creatures, and both are extremely strong in the Force, which makes me believe that perhaps that species is just strong in the Force in general.
Wait, hold on. So the bounty was... So they both go in there, and IG-88, it's like,
IG-11.
Or IG-11, he's like to terminate.
Yeah.
Was that both their assignments?
No. So
yeah, was it like Mandalorian wanted it to take it alive?
Well, first off, he wanted to take it alive because he's getting twice the Beskar if he brings it alive. Only half
but
if he
then
brings it
IG-11
dead.
is...
We don't know. It's a mystery.
Because I was trying to think how it happened. Like
they're both gilded members.
Yeah,
but we don't know exactly. That's a question. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to find out because one, I don't think IG-11's gone. I think he's definitely coming back. He'll be repaired. Someone will fish him out. But the interesting thing is, this thing's got to be strong in the Force, and if the Empire's trying to get him, I'm sure this is part of an Palpatine contingency plan, perhaps, or perhaps they just know from different studies that these are rare creatures, and who knows? We're gonna find out about Yoda. I think that's for sure.
So what are you thinking? So like you said, there's only been 2 times you've seen this.
They've both been on the
creatures.
Jedi Council.
So are you thinking we see this is a third separate creature, or is this?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
And you're thinking ways in the Force.
I do. I think that they're going. I think they're trying to study it to hopefully be able to either raise it to be a tool of the dark side of the Empire, or they're going to try and dissect this thing and figure it out. So maybe they could, who knows, you know what I mean? A person of science with the Force, who knows what they want with it. But I do think that he's probably going to bring it. I think there's a chance in Episode 2 he hands it over, and then he feels bad, collects his payment, fights him.
It's because, they show those brief flashbacks, of like, okay, like, I mean, we're drawing the connection that is like him younger, and then it's like, something happened in his world and like all these people were dying. And
so it's going to be hard for him to take a baby, and hand it over to the Empire.
Yeah.
Or at least what's left.
So, like, see, now that's the interesting thing. Now, it brings them in, because like you said, they're not part of the whole, light, dark side. They're on their own doing their thing out there trying to survive. But now they found this thing here.
Yeah, definitely.
That kind of puts them in okay, And
I think what we're going to get is a through line of the whole season, I assume, of different flashbacks every episode that are parallel to sort of what may be happening with this Yoda creature, baby Yoda. And sort of, I think he's going to be protecting it. I think he's going to be protecting it to a degree, unless they go bold and kill the thing, like in episode 2. But either that, or he might be trying to get it back all season. You know?
Yeah, because like it seems like so far, he's living that bounty hunter life, like get his next payment.
Yeah.
But now something interesting has happened.
And that's the beautiful thing. We don't know enough about him to make any assumptions really yet, but we learned something. He doesn't want it dead. Is that, and the interesting thing is, we're left with wondering, is that because of moral compass or strictly because of monetary reasons? We don't know. I mean, I think it's a safe bet to say moral compass, but really, who knows? You know, he could still be conflicted. I expect him to be conflicted. Does he take it back at all? I assume yes, but maybe he knows more than we do. You know, he's Mandalorian. I'm sure.
He knows more about this creature.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh.
There's a chance. And who knows? We're gonna find out about Yoda. Does Yoda have a homeworld? Are there a bunch of them? I doubt it. But I mean, if this seems like a rarity, you know, because I assume we would have seen them in Star Wars. I'm sure there's a reason. The interesting thing is, you know who definitely has this answer? Dave Filoni, because of his talks with George and his history. There's no way that making an entire Clone Wars season or Clone Wars series with George for a lot of it, that they didn't discuss Yoda's origins or what George thought Yoda was or his background or his people. You know, those conversations took place. So it's going to be interesting how deep they dive into it.
So this takes place, in terms of the time period. So the second Death Star is gone, or they just said Empire's gone.
Second Death Star is gone. There's New Republic being formed.
Yeah,
I believe it's 10 years after. It might be 5 though.
10 years after episode
6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Yoda,
he's dead.
Yeah, Yoda's dead. So.
But they said this thing's 50 years old, which means it would have been born.
And they said they can live long time.
This thing's older than Anakin Skywalker. No. Well, see, that's an interesting thing. Yes. No. We don't know. It might be around the same age.
Same
was
age
Yoda
as
fooling around back in the days of episode 1? He was getting his freak on?
We don't know how they reproduce.
Are they created by the Force? Who knows?
If they go like that route, Jesus Christ.
Man. I do wonder though if this will have any connection to the sequel films in any way. Right now I'm still hoping for the Maz Kanata connection. It just seems like it fits. Seems like she would know the Mandalorian.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
How would they? They got the budget for that, of course.
Definitely.
And they can. That'd be like really like.
I think that's the connection we need though, just because of who
really
she
cool.
is.
Yeah.
And like how she has run that Takodana watering hole for so long.
Yeah.
And she knows Han Solo and she knows all the smugglers. She knows a guy that can get you onto Snoke's ship. She's got to know the Mandalorian. And it's just going to be interesting to see what further connections we get. I think that this is an impressive debut for Dave Filoni. I think that I'm really excited to see what he does later because, with a series like this, you figure it out as you go. And it's going to be cool to see what each director's take looks like going on because we got so many different various voices. So before we move on, before we end this, really, I want to talk IG-88, IG-11, damn it. IG-11, so cool. His movements are so cool. The way, the sound design, the way he walks. I
love how he's designed.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's like all those imaginings of IG-88 are finally shown to us, essentially, with IG-11. And I can't wait to see more of him. I can't, even if it's other, because I could see if, the funny thing is he's IG-11, right? But what if we get a bunch of other IG droids, but they're exactly the same, So it's just like, that's IG-12. Okay. That's IG-99.
I know they were like, really, really joking with that line.
Which one?
IG-11 saying, he's going to go in his
self-destruction mode?
What if they hit us hard, man?
What?
What if he's going to make an ultimate sacrifice?
IG-11? I won't feel that bad. I'm like, yeah.
Well, not now, but
yeah, down the line.
What if
he hits us with a Hodor?
Yeah, like what if what if they're trying to protect this thing, and he's gotta fend them off.
That'd be cool. I'd be down for it.
But yeah, his movements, like the way they just captured it, like we saw that small shot in
because
the
for
trailer.
That you forget that it's TV. Like it's just it looks so good.
Yeah, like his movements are just so good. Like
it's I can watch it all day. If anyone knows that reference, I'll pay you.
That is like, I don't know. That is way too small.
I'm just saying, if you know, I'll give you a copy of a movie of your
Ugh.
choice. You know that one, but that's not even fake. Just honestly, DM me. I will.
I'd be surprised if you
yes.
didn't get an answer.
But that's really our review of our review
Episode
and
one.
reflection of episode 1. Quickly before we go, prediction for episode 2. Do we meet Cara Dune? Yes or no?
I think we're introduced. I would
Episode
say.
2.
How many? You said there's 8 episodes, isn't there?
Yeah.
I feel like
Episode 2. Do we meet Giancarlo Stanton?
probably.
I
yeah.
always say that.
I think so too.
Giancarlo Esposito.
I think
base.
so.
Okay. I'm gonna say.
Because how many other characters are left that we've been introduced?
Well, that's the thing. We don't know. Like, there's all these characters that we're gonna learn that we have no idea who they.
Like they showed the main ones like at Celebration. Like Pedro Pascal.
That's the thing.
and
Yeah. Gina Carano.
Yeah.
Carl Weathers. Yeah. It's gonna be cool, but I think that another thing. Do you think that we learn about Yoda's people's origin in the show?
But I wonder what information we could learn.
We don't know a lick. We don't even know what they're called. You can at least learn the name of the species.
Yeah, we could.
Oh, that's a flirkin.
Because I mean, it is interesting. Like, yeah, there's this one creature
And
they've gone extinct basically after he
I've
died.
always been so against. Same reason I'm against like certain things. Like the reason I was against the Joker movie is because I don't want to know. I'm so against the Yoda movie. I don't want that. But this.
But no, yeah,
this makes sense.
This is cool because
Yeah.
it's like exploring like.
It's like a subplot. It's not like the main character, and you don't got to be like I don't want to see Yoda in high school, like pulling stupid pranks, like
Yeah.
the teacher does not see this. Like I just don't wanna
Yoda's
see
like
it.
9. What? How old is
Like
he?
900.
Yeah. So I'm like, no.
Yeah.
There's no need for an origin. Like he's 900.
Yeah, we just don't need it. And so I think that it'd be cool to learn little bits. We don't got to go in full depth of his species, at least the name, maybe, just various things.
Yeah, and I think one of the it's just cool to see like how information travels. I know the books capture it like how propaganda and information travels throughout the galaxy. Like, how do they well they know the Empire is now gone and because they traverse the galaxy like
they're on the outskirts trying to hold it together. And that's the thing. This is Giancarlo's character is a Moff. Moffs are basically governors of like regions. Grand Moff
he's the Grand Moff.
Yeah, Grand Moff. But a Moff is a big deal, and so to have a Moff come into play, there must be a good reason, because there's not going to be many of them left. So,
does the man did they get the hint that the Mandalorian doesn't like the Empire?
I don't. I think he's probably indifferent. I think that
he's just
he doesn't.
indifferent to it.
Not indifferent. I don't think he likes him, but I don't think he really likes anybody. Anybody that poses any kind of threat or
which is the world. Yeah. Out there. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be interesting. Will we come into contact with a Wedge Antilles or someone like that? I hope so.
This guy right here.
I'm just saying,
Antilles high.
Will we see a 9 nub off duty?
Just casually walking in the back.
Cara Dune was like an ARC trooper in the rebellion.
No, but did you think we're gonna explore in the next coming episode?
Explore what?
No, we're gonna see
Cara Dune?
No, Giancarlo Esposito.
No. I think we'll see him episode 3. Right now, if I had to take a blind guess, no. I don't think we'll see him next episode. I think that we'll have a lot of stormtrooper battles next episode. You know what? No, I'm a liar. We're going to see him next episode for sure. It'll probably be the 3rd act battle again.
Yeah, because I remember you were saying just trying to think of what we saw in the trailer versus how much footage we haven't still seen.
Yeah.
Because
Bill Burr.
Well, at least we in the in Celebration we did see a little bit more.
We did.
A lot of still cool stuff coming.
Imagery and we did, man.
Some imagery,
we were treated.
shots. Yeah.
But it's gonna be cool, man. I'm excited. That was episode 1. I'm gonna do this for every episode. Hopefully G can be with me for most of them. And I'm gonna watch it again today. And if I pick anything out, I might post it, and I might not. But that's it, man. I just want to thank everybody for watching this Mandalorian recap. You can find us at The Fan Awakens on Instagram. You can find us at you can find me at Elilo Ren, ELYLO_Ren. I need to find a better name. I think it fits my name, but I'm open to suggestions.
Yeah.
Yeah, Eli Loren. If it's
For now.
But yeah, thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, all the whole deal. We'll see you next time for episode 2 of The Mandalorian.